Today I'm bringing a review to you of the Callaway Opus SP Wedge, the new wedge from Callaway Golf that promises more spin, more control. But is it all just marketing, or is there actually some real technological advances in this particular wedge right here? We're going to hit some different shots with some different wedges to compare it against and really get into the data in today's test for you guys. And they're saying that's as aggressive as it's ever been. It did feel lovely. Did it live up to the hype there of lower launch, higher spin, more control? Okay guys, so welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be doing a wedge review for you guys. Managed to get my hands on one of the beautiful Callaway Opus SP wedges. SP standing for spin pocket, and that's really where they are saying they've made some technological advances here with this particular wedge, which is going to allow them to create lower launch, more spin for more short game control. So let me talk you through a couple of the features on this particular wedge here. And then what I've actually got today is some wedges, some previous generational wedges from Callaway. I've also got a Cleveland wedge in there as well. And then I've got something from a little bit further back. I've got a Vokey spin milled 6, which I'm going to hit as well, just to see exactly what the difference is in the numbers. One, in terms of from a technological perspective, but also just in terms of if you've got a wedge where the grooves have got a little bit of wear and tear in them, exactly what you are losing in terms of spin retention in and around the greens and with those slightly longer shots as well. But first of all, let me talk to you about the SP. So obviously brand new from Callaway. The previous generation of Opus was very popular as well, used on tour, had tour validation, was won with by the players as well. But the SP is slightly different. There's no two ways about it. They've brought some slightly different technology to this particular head. The SP, as I mentioned there, does stand for spin pocket, and they've effectively got, it's a two-piece head this here, and they've got a cavity that sits behind this particular head right here, almost like they've hollowed it out, you would say. And what that has allowed them to do is use that mass that they've taken away here and raise it up into the upper part of the wedge here. But by doing that, that raises the center of gravity. And in wedges particularly, that's important. You wouldn't want that with your driver, for example, because that would cause you to hit lower starting drives and then high spinning drives, which is not exactly what we want with the driver. But with the wedges, it is what we want, because we want to be able to get that center of gravity almost above the ball, pointing downwards, which causes a lower launch, which gives us a little bit more control. And that's something that we see on the tours, certainly from the better players in the world. But then also when you hit the ball below the center of gravity, it creates more spin as well. So that's exactly what Callaway are trying to do here with this particular spin pocket. They've definitely added more mass into this part of the head here. Definitely in relation to the previous model, the Opus, I would say, and also the Jaws, which is the model that I've got with me today. They're all 60-degree wedges that I'm going to be hitting today for you. So I'm really looking at that top loft where you're going to want to create as much control and spin as you possibly can with it. But that's the spin pocket effectively where it sits, and it does change in terms of height and shape based on the loft of the golf club within the SP range as well. They've also brought some new groove technology to market as well. They've got the Spin Gen 2.0, and as well as obviously the shape of the grooves that they're working on a 17-degree crosshair hatch pattern that works across the face. And what that's really going to help you with is those partial shots as well. And they're saying that's as aggressive as it's ever been, or certainly since the groove rule changed some years back now. And where they're going to say that's particularly going to help the golfer is on those partial shots, I would say 30, 40 yards and in. And I did do a very quick review outdoors, which you guys can go and check out on our channel, where I hit some chip shots in and around the green. Wasn't any data there, but just from a feel perspective and visually, I could definitely see that the ball was coming out a little bit lower and with loads of spin on that particular test that I did off grass. But it'll be really interesting to today in here on the TrackMan to get some numbers as well. But again, Spin Gen is something that, Spin Gen 2.0, that's something that they're talking about as well. And then finally the shape, which is always important with a wedge. We always want it to look as good as it can down by the golf ball. This is iteration 6 or version 6 of this particular head. This was the one that, based on all the prototypes that they took out onto tour, this was the most popular shape from the guys out there. This is the one that they all said that they wanted to play. And so they've taken this, and this is the one that's made it to market as well. And I have to say, it's a very, very good looking wedge. There are certainly some bigger looking wedge heads on the market, I would say. So if you're looking for something that offers a bit of forgiveness and gives you that sort of confidence inspiring look, there are probably other heads on the market that are going to give that for you. But This is, I would say, it's quite compact. It's got a lovely sort of shape to it, quite rounded through the toe area as it blends into that toe area there. And then it's got a nice, I would say, in terms of here, how it really sort of meets the hosel, nice and smooth as well. So it's a good looking wedge, I have to say. I've played Callaway wedges myself, it's worth mentioning that in the past, and I've always enjoyed them as well. Typically they've got various different lofts and grinds that you can choose from as well. Most wedge companies now have tons and tons of different wedge grind options, all the way from sort of wider soles, like which is what I've got here, which will give me lots of forgiveness out on the golf course and in softer sand, in softer conditions, all the way down to sort of their T grinds and their C grinds, which are much lower bounce configurations and are going to lend themselves to being opened up more for face manipulation. But guys, enough of me talking, let's hit some golf shots. I'm going to start off by hitting 5 shots with each wedge. I'm going to start off with hitting 30-yard shots, and then I'm going to hit 5 shots with each wedge over 70 yards as well, and then we'll dive into the details of the TrackMan data. Right guys, okay, so let's just wrap that up for you then. So I hit a bunch of shots there at 30 yards, or as close to as I possibly could, and then a bunch of shots to 70 yards, again, as close as I possibly could. I think I've got the averages pretty close there, to be honest with you. So let's have a little look at them now. Data is quite interesting. Let's start with that 30-yard shot particularly. And actually, as you can see, the difference really in the numbers there between the launch and the spin, very, very similar. There's only a couple of hundred RPMs, and actually the SM6, the Titleist, performed really well there. The Jaws Raw actually gave us the highest spin number of anything. So the Opus SP didn't actually, in that particular section of the test, separate itself from the competition. Worth mentioning, the Opus SP, it did feel lovely, a bit clickier than what I was expecting, and that's probably because of that 2-piece design in the head. But certainly from a numbers perspective, I didn't see the launch come down or the spin go up comparative to one of the previous Callaway models. Obviously the 9-year-old SM6 that we've now got in that test there now. And then I also brought a competitor in there in the RTX6, the Cleveland. And again, you can see the numbers very, very similar between all of those. And I was very, very close with the yardage that I hit those. It's within half a yard with all of those different shots that I've hit there in the end. So very, very similar, guys. Let's move on to the 70-yard shot. And again, start to see a little bit of a difference. But I wouldn't say there was a huge amount there where Callaway would be able to latch onto that particular data and say, look, it's definitely coming out a little bit lower, it's giving you more control, and it's spinning a bit more. I think what that basically shows is that groove technology and wedge design really, you would say, hasn't changed a huge amount since that SM6 that came out, which again did have that movable CG placement. They did start to move a bit of mass higher into the head there with the Vokeys as well. And so that is still relevant as a technology, definitely, but things haven't moved on a huge amount. The main thing I would say here that I would get from this test here would be, if you're going to update to a latest model wedge, it's the refreshing of the grooves, where you're going to get that little bit more retention of spin, I would say, and consistency from shot to shot. Probably the biggest thing I would probably say there is maybe the consistency in the spin levels from shot to shot with the Titleist wasn't quite as tight as it was there with the Opus SP, but the averages overall very tight, as you can see. So from a test perspective, I wouldn't say, the whole point in this test here, we were trying to see, did the Opus SP live up with that spin pocket? Did it live up to the hype there of lower launch, higher spin, more control? I would say not necessarily. Lovely looking wedge, feels great. Really enjoyed it there, hitting it in the test, but it's not giving me any distinct different data to what I experienced with the other wedges there, which is quite interesting. But guys, have you tried the Opus SP? What's your experience of it been so far? Do you use any of those other wedges that I tried in the test as well? I'd be interested to hear your feedback on those wedges as well. They all definitely give me different feedback, different looks, different feel. They all bring something different to the table. But overall, I think the performance was actually very, very similar today in here on the TrackMan in this controlled environment. But I would love to hear your feedback as well. Come at me on the comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. As always, Any other tests as well you would like me to conduct over the next couple of months now that unfortunately the weather's going to be changing here in the UK. Got this lovely facility here, 5 Under Golf in Basingstoke. We're going to be doing a bit more filming in here, so let me know. I'll try my best to get hold of that equipment and do those tests for you. But hope you enjoyed that review. Smash the like button if you did. Subscribe if you haven't for all our latest updates as well. And guys, look forward to seeing you at the next review.